happened to the limousine? For decades, it was the symbol of wealth, power, and untouchable status. Politicians, celebrities, even mob bosses rolled through cities in stretched black cars that screamed untouchable. But somewhere in the last 15 years, the limo just vanished. They'll tell you it's because SUVs and luxury sprinters are more practical. But is that really the whole story? Or was the limo phased out on purpose? Think about it. A limousine is impossible to hide. Long, flashy, instantly recognizable. SUVs, on the other hand, they blend right in. Same tinted windows, same convoy look, but no one pays attention. Could it be that the powerful traded limos for SUVs not out of preference, but out of necessity? Security agencies, shadow elites, even Hollywood insiders realizing the limo made them too easy a target. The limo represented transparency. If you saw one, you knew someone important was inside. SUVs represent secrecy. You see them everywhere, but you'll never know who they're really protecting. Did limousines disappear because culture moved on, or because power decided it was safer to stay hidden in plain sight?
There's a coordinated global policy push for digital IDs as the new form of government-issued identification credentials. And they're essentially all based on your biometric data, which can be your fingerprints, your face, the iris of your eyeball. And the idea is essentially to collect all of that data and have it housed or have it tied directly to your digital ID. So your physical ID will be mapped to the digital ID. Digital IDs are not really a separate project from CBDCs and this new digital financial system. And UN documentation and also documentation from the Bank of International Settlements, they very overtly state that CBDCs and digital IDs are meant to go together. And without digital IDs, the CBDC digital finance system cannot exist. One of the reasons it can't exist without that is because of the KYC functionality built into this digital financial system. They have the know your customer protocols. They have to know who you are. And so they want to have your wallet tied to a digital ID and have that digital ID be mapped to your physical ID through the biometric data collection. So there's different efforts to make digital IDs either as NFTs, non-fungible tokens. There's also the efforts of Sam Altman of OpenAI and his WorldCoin project, whereby you scan your iris, you give them the biometric credentials of your eyeball. They give you a unique identifier, a digital ID, and it's inherently tied to a digital wallet. That is the same model the UN is using. They've already implemented it for refugees getting food assistance from the World Food Program. It's called Building Blocks. It's on blockchain. It involves refugees scanning their irises, and in order to buy food or receive their rations, they have to check out of a grocery store style place in the refugee camp, and they check out biometrically with an eyeball scan, and then the amount of food they have, the monetary value of that is subtracted from their digital wallet connected to their digital ID and their iris. So ID 2020, the UN and other stakeholders in this particular sphere often argue that the reason this is necessary is because of what they call the identity gap. And the identity gap is the claim that the lack of digital ID is preventing people, mainly the world's poor, from accessing essential services, whether it's banking, whether it's education, whether it's healthcare. They claim the only way for these people to be able to access these services is to onboard them to these identity schemes.
The rise of the sovereign citizen movement.
He's a so-called sovereign citizen.
In terms of the sovereign citizen movement,
self-declared sovereign citizen.
We have got a problem with these so-called sovereign citizens.
Well, we're hearing a lot about this so-called sovereign citizen movement.
The sovereign citizen movement.
Believed to subscribe to the sovereign citizen ideology.
How worried are you about the rise of this sovereign citizen movement?
Because this man lives off the grid and is a so-called sovereign citizen.
I think it's a real concern, James.
Simply as you can, what sovereign citizens and pseudo-law actually are.
Yeah, I'll call it, they're becoming a national security problem.
About far-right extremism